Good morning. This is the Paradise Unicorn Priestess, bringing you day 227 of A Course in Miracles, the Yin translation, where we use female words. This would be August 15th if you're starting at the new year. The Picture of Crucifixion. The wish to be unfairly treated is a compromise attempt that would combine attack and innocence. Who can combine the wholly incompatible and make a unity of what can never join? Walk you the gentle way, and you will fear no evil, and no shadows in the night. But place no terror symbols on your path, or you will weave a crown of thorns from which your sister and yourself will not escape. You cannot crucify yourself alone. And if you are unfairly treated, she must suffer the unfairness that you see. You cannot sacrifice yourself alone, for sacrifice is total. If it could occur at all, it would entail the whole of God's creation and the mother with the sacrifice of her beloved child. In your release from sacrifice is hers made manifest and shown to be her own. But every pain you suffer, do you see as proof that she is guilty of attack? Thus would you make yourself to be the sign that she has lost her innocence, and need but look on you to realize that she has been condemned. And what to you has been unfair will come to her in righteousness. The unjust vengeance that you suffer now belongs to her, and when it rests on her, are you set free. Wish not to make yourself a living symbol of her guilt, for you will not escape the death you made for her, but in her innocence you find your own. Whenever you consent to suffer pain, to be deprived, unfairly treated, or in need of anything, you but accuse your sister of attack upon God's child. You hold a picture of your crucifixion before her eyes, that she may see her sins are writ in heaven in your blood and death, and go before her, closing off the gate and damning her to hell. Yet this is writ in hell and not in heaven, where you are beyond attack and prove her innocence. The picture of yourself you offer her, you show yourself, and give it all your faith. The Holy Spirit offers you to give to her a picture of yourself in which there is no pain and no reproach at all, and what was martyred to her guilt becomes the perfect witness to her innocence. The power of witness is beyond belief because it brings conviction in its wake. The witness is believed because she points beyond herself to what she represents. A sick and suffering you, but represents your sister's guilt. The witness that you send lest she forget the injuries she gave, from which you swear she will never escape. This sick and sorry picture you accept, if only it can serve to punish her. The sick are merciless to everyone, and in contagion do they seek to kill. Death seems an easy price if they can say, "Behold me, sister, at your hand I die." For sickness is the witness to her guilt, and death would prove her errors must be sins. Sickness is but a little death, a form of vengeance not yet total, yet it speaks with certainty for what it represents. The bleak and bitter picture you have sent your sister, you have looked upon in grief, and everything that it has shown to her have you believed because it witnessed to the guilt in her which you perceived and loved. Now, in the hands made gentle by her touch, the Holy Spirit lays a picture of a different you. It is a picture of a body still, for what you really are cannot be seen nor pictured. Yet this one has not been used for purpose of attack, and therefore never suffered pain at all. It witnesses to the eternal truth that you cannot be hurt, and points beyond itself to both your innocence and hers. Show this unto your sister, who will see that every scar is healed and every tear is wiped away in laughter and in love. and she will look on her forgiveness there, and with healed eyes will look beyond it to the innocence that she beholds in you. Here is the proof that she has never sinned, that nothing which her madness bid her do was ever done, or ever had effects of any kind, that no reproach she laid upon her heart was ever justified, and no attack can ever touch her with the poisoned and relentless sting of fear. Attest her innocence and not her guilt. Your healing is her comfort and her health, because it proves illusions are not true. It is not will for life, but wish for death that is the motivation for this world. Its only purpose is to prove guilt real. No worldly thought or act or feeling has a motivation other than this one. These are the witnesses that are called forth to be believed and lend conviction to the system they speak for and represent. And each has many voices speaking to your sister and yourself in different tongues. And yet, to both, the message is the same. Adornment of the body seeks to show how lovely are the witnesses for guilt. Concerns about the body demonstrate how frail and vulnerable is your life, how easily destroyed is what you love. Depression speaks of death, and vanity of real concern with anything at all. The strongest witness to futility that bolsters all the rest and helps them paint the picture in which sin is justified is sickness in whatever form it takes. The sick have reason for each one of their unnatural desires and strange needs. For who could live a life so soon cut short and not esteem the worth of passing joys? What pleasures could there be that will endure? Are not the frail entitled to believe that every stolen scrap of pleasure is their righteous payment for their little lives? Their death will pay the price for all of them, if they enjoy their benefits or not. The end of life must come, whatever way that life be spent, and so take pleasure in the quickly passing and ephemeral. These are not sins, but witnesses unto the strange belief that sin and death are real, and innocence and sin will end alike with the termination of the grave. If this were true, there would be reason to remain content, to seek for passing joys and cherish little pleasures where you can. Yet, in this picture is the body not perceived as neutral, and without a goal inherent in itself. For it becomes the symbol of reproach, the sign of guilt, whose consequences still are there to see, so that the cause can never be denied. Your function is to show your sister sin can have no cause. How futile must it be to see yourself a picture of the proof that what your function is can never be. The Holy Spirit's picture changes not the body into something it is not. It only takes away from all signs of accusation and of blamefulness. Pictured without a purpose, it is seen as neither sick nor well, nor bad nor good. No grounds are offered that it may be judged in any way at all. It has no life, but neither is it dead. It stands apart from all experience of love or fear. For now it witnesses to nothing yet, its purpose being open, and the mind made free again to choose what it is for. Now it is not condemned, but waiting for a purpose to be given, that it may fulfill the function that it will receive. Into this empty space, from which the goal of sin has been removed, is heaven free to be remembered. Here its peace can come, and perfect healing take the place of death. The body can become a sign of life, a promise of redemption, and a breath of immortality to those grown sick of breathing in the fetid scent of death. Let it have healing as its purpose. Then will it send forth the message it received, and by its health and loveliness proclaim the truth and value that it represents. Let it receive the power to represent an endless life, forever unattacked, and to your sister let its message be, Behold me, sister, at your hand I live. The simple way to let this be achieved is merely this: to let the body have no purpose from the past, when you were sure you knew its purpose was to foster guilt. For this insists your crippled picture is a lasting sign of what it represents. This leaves no space in which a different view, another purpose, can be given it. You do not know its purpose. You but gave illusions of a purpose to a thing you made to hide your function from yourself. This thing without a purpose cannot hide the function that the Holy Spirit gave. Let then its purpose and your function both be reconciled at last and seen as one. I personally wrestle with A Course in Miracles being wrapped in Christian packaging, in coming through the voice that is Jesus. I have not fully healed from the wounds of being raised in my childhood religion and the strange forms of cognitive dissonance that I experienced. And now A Course in Miracles tells me that all of the things that were taught me about Jesus dying on the cross and what it meant were misunderstood. But this text in particular adds important context to that. It teaches us that we must not let our body be a symbol of our frailty and vulnerability and the wrongs done to us. And thus, I cannot imagine, it's just incongruent with an image of Jesus after the resurrection, having a body that still bore the marks of the crucifixion, the prints in the hands and feet, and the opening in the side where the sword was thrust in. We are told that it's an important part of the story that after the resurrection, Jesus went about and showed this still scarred body to people so that they would believe that it was really him, the one that was crucified. And then on top of that, we have images of the crucified and suffering Jesus created in paintings and sculpture all over the world and throughout time after the supposed event happened. I have said in past podcast episodes that I believe strongly that humanity will be ready for the next step in ascension when we stop telling the story of a Messiah crucified at all. And I have spoken of the concept of Jesus being a twin flame soul that inhabited both Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and possibly even what is known as the three Marys: Mary the mother, Mary the companion, and if we are using the symbol of the goddess, we would have a crone in there somewhere. The third Mary, it's a little bit uncertain which Mary that is. I like to think of it as being Mary, the sister of Martha, the one who sat at the feet of Jesus, listening instead of doing things like cooking and cleaning, for which she was criticized by her sister. I like to imagine this being the one who fulfills that crone image, but that's me personally. That's not necessarily the tradition. Anyway, all that to say, as a goddess worshiper, as one who prefers to look at the default as female rather than male, to look up at the divine and see mother rather than father, I love the idea of a female Messiah that's not crucified, who does not hold up her body as a sacrifice and showing everyone how they were unfairly treated in the worst of ways. We've got to let that story go. This text reading makes it quite clear. We have got to let that story go. Salvation is the undoing of consequences as though they never happened. We don't keep trying to resurrect the wounds of the past by rubbing them in everyone's face. And we all know that Christianity has been doing this to people, saying, you need to stop doing what you're doing because, in essence, you're making Jesus cry. You're making Jesus suffer by doing what you're doing. When the truth is, the ones who are making love cry are the ones that are suffering. The ones who are being unfairly treated, the ones who are being victimized, the ones who are martyring themselves, those are the ones who are perpetuating the suffering. Because love looks on and doesn't even see those things at all, really. Love says, that's that doesn't exist. Clearly, God would never create suffering. God is love, so that can't exist. That's immaterial. But it's though it's trying to make love cry. We have to give this up. We have to stop our own suffering, because deep down what we're doing is we're trying to make love cry. We're trying to make love suffer. We're trying to make God suffer. Like, look what you did to me. Look what happened to me. This is your fault. I'm innocent and somebody else did this terrible thing to me. If this is all a dream and an illusion and its consequences evaporate and disappear the way snow melts and evaporates before the summer sun, then the healing of the mind means no longer having dreams in which these things happen. This speaks again of this concept of open-mindedness. Again, this is the last of the traits that are listed, of the traits that a teacher of the course gains. It lists other things like faith and trust and honesty, and the very last one listed is open-mindedness. Open-mindedness completely lets go of the past. It completely lets go of preconceived notions. And this text is asking us to do that with our body, to completely let go of the past and let our body be, instead of a symbol of frailty, of something that can get sick and die and experience loss and pain of all kinds, to simply use it as an avatar of heaven, here to express love, here to tell another that they are invulnerable, that they are worthy and do all the love of heaven, and that all the things they think their madness made them do, they did not do, and the consequences are not real. We let the past go. In addition to all of this, how important it is that we be healed so that we're not laying our suffering on the compassion of others. It also shows us that many of our strange appetites are born out of that suffering, out of that feeling of, well, if I'm going to suffer while I'm here, I'm sure as hell going to find ways to enjoy myself. And perhaps that's where we get addictions and cravings of all sorts. When we are healed, such that we are no longer suffering, then perhaps we have no need for those cravings anymore either. That was something we did to soothe ourselves when we believed ourselves so vulnerable and frail. In order to have an open mind about the purpose of the body, in order to let this thing that was ordered, made by the ego, and we identified with the ego and obeyed and made the body, and all things made by the ego, the Holy Spirit can use for its loving purposes, in order to hand it over to that purpose, we have to have an open mind. And very early on in A Course in Miracles, we had a lesson that said, I do not know what anything is for. And that's being echoed here. It's very important to open-mindedness that we remind ourselves we do not know the purpose of anything. That's what allows heaven to use it for the purposes of love. There are many times in A Course in Miracles that I am reminded of Gnosticism. In the mythology of Gnosticism, the physical universe that we perceive was made by a false god, and that false god was made by basically a true child of the real God named Sophia, which is also wisdom. But she kind of basically went off on her own, like in a little corner of the universe, and made this thing that then became this twisted, insane, demented, deformed, false god, and went off and created the physical universe on his own. And ever since then, Sophia has been trying to correct this error that she feels shame around, wanting to undo it. And we have that first female aeon of God, Barbelo, kind of the original symbol of the divine feminine, coming in to help Sophia to clean up her mess, to atone for what had been done, to undo the error. Basically, undo the error that is all of physical reality, is kind of the story of Gnosticism. And it just seems to me that A Course in Miracles and Gnosticism are different ways of telling the same story. Just as Sophia went off into a corner and made that false god, that monstrosity that made the physical universe, today's text reading says that we basically went off into a corner and made the body. That was a thing that God had no part in making, but now is perfectly able to turn towards a loving and healing purpose. All right, and after reviewing the What is Forgiveness passage that's in the show notes, we have lesson 227. This is my holy instant of release. Mother, it is today that I am free because my will is yours. I thought to make another will, yet nothing that I thought apart from you exists. I am free because I was mistaken and did not affect my own reality at all by my illusions. Now I give them up and lay them down before the feet of truth, to be removed forever from my mind. This is my holy instant of release. Mother, I know my will is one with yours. And so today we find our glad return to heaven, which we never really left. The child of God this day lays down her dreams. The child of God this day comes home again, released from sin and clad in holiness, with her right mind restored to her at last. And that is our lesson for today. Happy practicing.